Hello viewers, this is Umbra Racing here, and welcome to the channel. So this channel here I wanted to use as a little bit of fun to cover a variety of car and racing related content, from kart racing all the way up to sim racing. But in this video in particular, I wanted to highlight a racing league that I joined up on this year in 2024. So as you can see here, we're currently at Mosport. This is a part of Mosport's Arrive and Drive Kart Racing League here at the Mosport Karting Center. And just for a little bit of context, this is actually my first ever kart racing league. I've actually never driven in karts before, never raced karts before, and this was a very fun and really interesting experience to really get into some serious racing, get into some really serious competition with a variety of these drivers, and yeah, it was definitely a really fun experience. I joined up in this league with two other buddies here. One of them you'll probably see wearing the Mercedes F1 racing suit with a blue helmet. The other one's wearing the Red Bull F1 racing suit as well with a blue helmet. And yeah, it was definitely a really good experience. So there were 9 drivers in this group today, and we're actually starting towards the back of the pack. In 7th, 8th, and 9th. I'm in 8th position, and the reason why it materialized that way is because a bit of a misunderstanding of the qualifying and practice structure here. So basically the way that qualifying and practice works here is that the second you come out of the pits, you get 5 minutes to practice the track, and then you immediately jump straight into quali. However, we didn't actually understand that the second you get out of the pits that you should be going full out. And it seemed like there were a few other people that didn't really understand that all that well, since there were a couple other people that were driving pretty slow and we were tailing behind them. So as a result of that, we didn't really get a good opportunity to really set any decent qualifying times, which is why we started towards the back of the pack here. But yeah, just before our race starts, we're just kind of watching these guys ahead of us as these two drivers, do their best Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon impersonations, sending each other straight into the Shadow Realm, as we hope to not replicate that. So I'm just going to whip it forward here towards the actual race as we start pulling out of the pits here. And we did have a bit of rookie training prior to this race a couple weeks ago, but the conditions were drastically different than how they were on this day. So as you can see, the weather is beautiful here. This is an absolutely beautiful track, sun beaming on the track. During our rookie training, it was actually raining quite a bit, so obviously there was not a whole lot of grip on the track. The way we had to drive the karts was very different, so doing the race today, it was almost like we had to kind of relearn the track all over again, relearn or get more confidence in the karts. So it was definitely very different. One of the other things about this track is just coming up to the top of the hill here, you're going to notice that there are 2 pylons right here on the left and right side here, that I just passed. Those pylons are those are used as passing pylons. So basically the way that the rules work here is that during the race, once you get the green flag, you're not allowed to pass on the first lap until you get past those orange pylons, right? And you're gonna see how that materializes once we come around these final corners here onto the start straight. But yeah, we have a few rules here in regards to overtaking. But yeah, it's definitely a very interesting experience here. You can see a couple drivers weaving, which we're not supposed to do, but right here we're going to be given the green flag, and that's where we're going to go. I had a little bit of a late start here, so I started to kind of fall behind, but we're all kind of making our way up the first straight, coming up to the track. You can see my buddy here, I think he must have forgotten about the overtaking rule, so he kind of overtook us and set me back into 9th position here. But it's all good, no worries here. Did a little bit of an overtake here on my buddy here, so put me back up into 8th position. And then, basically from this point on, I wanted to try to claw my way back up into, well, at the very least try to achieve another position here. So you can see these two drivers fighting a little bit on the exit of that corner there. Coming down into the straight, you can definitely carry a lot of speed once you come out of the final corner. All of this is flat out. Definitely sent a bit of a dive bomb right into that corner, hugging the inside of the corner really nicely, making a nice little overtake on my buddy. He's holding the outside line, kind of have him giving him a little bit of space on the outside. And yeah, just right up on the tail of this driver here. Just tailing him really nicely. He took those corners really nice, actually. So right here, like I said before, this is completely flat out. I think I definitely got a way better exit than he did. Managed to get a nice launch right up the straight, coming straight into this uphill. Hugged it really nice and tight on the inside of the corner there, and then sent straight down the hill right here. So at this point, I'm up into P6. So I managed to hold that for a little bit. One of the parts of the track, which was right here, this little corner, I felt as if I could have taken this a little bit better. I think I was losing a little bit of time on the exit of that corner. I think I might have been hugging the inside on the entry, maybe a little bit too much. So it's definitely something that I need to work on. But I had lots of confidence coming up the hill here, hugging it real tight, and then coming out wide on the exit of the corner. Full throttle off the exit and getting a lot of speed down into this back straight. Letting the kart coast right into this, getting a little bit of a blip on the brakes to kind of pivot the kart in. And here, you can see hugging the inside of that curb really tightly. Just sending it back in here on the main straight. It's definitely catching up to this driver up here into P5. I feel like I was definitely making some good progress here catching up to him. You can see that he's getting a little bit bigger and bigger on the screen as the race goes on. Just kind of checking the back to see how far P7 was. And just as the race went on, as the laps went on, I was definitely getting lots more confidence in the kart, and just kind of learning the corners a bit better each time. So right up into the straight again. You can see that I'm definitely gaining on P5 right here, sending it straight up into the uphill. I think I definitely gained a bit of time on him coming straight out of that corner. And then right into this little chicane here. I think I went a little bit wide, hugging the inside I think a little bit too much. Definitely had a bit of a poor exit here, but that was pretty much the end of this race here, of the pre-final. We have one more race, which is the actual final, right after this. But you can see, like, once things started to settle down a little bit, there wasn't too much fighting going on, but there was definitely progress made here. I managed to move up 2 positions from 8th all the way up into 6th. So that set me up nicely for the next race to try to achieve a bit of a better result. So you'll see just as we come straight into the pits here.
Well, good race, bro.
That was good, yeah.
Yo, honestly, you caught a serious groove going on the last one.
Yeah, like I was really feeling it. I really wanted to pass the guy who was in front of me before.
Yeah. I was trying to pass the guy in front of me too.
Something different.
So here we're starting race 2, the final race of the day, and of course, obviously as a result of the pre-final, I'm starting in a much favorable position now, up into P6, so I'm much closer to the top split of the group here. So hopefully I can eke out a much better result than the qualifying and the previous race. But definitely one thing that I noticed after a bit of practice and the pre-final was that I started to get a bit of a groove. Like, I definitely started to get a lot more confidence in the kart, knowing exactly where I can kind of rely more on coasting, kind of trying to rely on the brakes the least amount possible, because this variation of this track is definitely like it's much shorter, but it's also a very high speed variation of this track. Really, the only sections where it gets a little bit technical is basically the last couple corners right before the start the start finish straight. So the chicane and then that long hairpin corner, I think those ones need a little bit care navigating them properly to get the most amount of time out of them. This corner, of course, being the most important one since you have a very long straight, so you want to maximize your exit speed as best as you can. But here we have the green flag and everything's a go. So all of us here, all sending it up to the top of the hill. We all reach the passing pylons, and now it's free game. I think I hit the curb on the inside a little bit, so it spit me out wide. I think I might have lost a little bit of time there, but I don't think it mattered all that much. So I was really close to P5 right here. P5, P4, and P3 very close here. So I thought those positions were definitely in contention here. You can see completing the first lap. I think I might have lost a little bit of time on the exit of that final corner. Definitely trying to kind of repair that and kind of perform a little bit better on this lap here. So I have like a decent exit out of that uphill there, coming down into this little chicane here. You can see that P4 and P3 super close to each other. They were definitely fighting for positions, so as a result of that, they were kind of losing a bit of time to P2 and P1. You can see that the groups are starting to kind of separate a bit. So right here, getting a little bit of a draft on P5, I managed to send it up the inside. Definitely some very good racing. This was a lot of fun here. We're both side by side, wheel to wheel, coming down into this tight corner here, hugging the inside very wide while still leaving some space. He manages to overtake. I managed to go side by side again. He is up into P5, right on his tail coming out of that. That was really, really scintillating racing right there. For my standards, that was a lot of fun. So right on the back of him here onto this straight, getting a little bit of a draft and then sending it up through the inside again. Again, hugging it really nice and wide. We're both side by side coming down the hill. You can see just checking for space, kind of squeezing him just a little bit there, just to get a bit of a better entry into this corner. And then I managed to clear it. And then we're finally up into P5. So now my objective here is I wanted to try to set better times, of course, through this track, because I wanted to try to get as close to P4 and P3 as possible, because they weren't too far away, and the race was still very young. I think that at this point, P4 and P3 were definitely in contention. If I could set some clean laps, not make any crazy mistakes here, I feel like I definitely could have caught up to them, as they were fighting a little bit, so they were definitely losing time. And I think there were definitely some spots on this track where I was definitely a little bit faster than them as well. Mainly the uphill. I think I was doing a pretty good job on the uphill. So I think most of my time gain was definitely right up here at this section here. Again, hugging the corner wide. Definitely getting a nice entry as we come down the hill. I think at this point, I could definitely hear P6. It's definitely close by behind me. Hugging it nice and tight to the corners, to the curbs here. And then P6, he just sends it right up the inside. We made a little bit of contact there, but it wasn't too bad. None of us got wiped out. So he backs off a little bit, and then I maintain P5. Coming straight to the uphill. Again, just taking this corner very nicely. I think as a result of that contact on the exit of the final corner, I think that did kind of have me lose a little bit of time. So as a result of that, it was going to be much harder to catch up to P4 and P3 here. And then now we're on to the final lap. And unfortunately, I'm not close enough to really make any moves against P4 and P3. So really this race was just going to be a matter of just holding P5. There's definitely having a really good battle with the driver in P6 here. Down onto the final straight. Coming down into the chicane. Taking it nice and tight. decent entry, decent exit, and then just rounding that about to finish off the lap. And it's going to be a P5. So all in all, it was a very good race. Like, I definitely made some good progress through both the pre-final and the final, making it all the way up into P5. For my first race, I think that was definitely pretty impressive for my standards, I'd say. I definitely wasn't expecting to get those results, but I definitely feel that there was some potential there for me to get a P4. Had I qualified a little bit better, I think the race could have been a little bit different. I don't know. It's all just what ifs. But I think overall this was definitely a very good experience, and just seeing how fast the guys were up in P1 and P2, even the drivers in P3 and P4, like they were pretty quick in our league. So just seeing all of that firsthand and kind of getting a bit of that experience really kind of set the bar for the rest of the season. Definitely, if I want to make some good positions, I'm going to have to clean up a bit of my technique. I'm definitely don't have as much experience as a lot of these guys do. So if I want to be in any form of contention for anything higher than P5, then definitely going to put in some more practice time, get some more seat time, and learn the track a little bit more. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely had a lot of fun racing against these guys, and yeah, it was definitely a very good experience. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.
That was a great race, man.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. I love that. Thanks a lot.
Spun out trying not to get it. Down to the grid.
When was that one?
Group 14 down to the Spun out
Right.
at this turn there because he was too slow and I
Oh, yeah.
and I really sounded the race and I really was
Oh man,
Dude, you were looking real good,
good
dude.
race, dude.
that was exciting. Whew.